Call it part two, right? So, switching gears. So, I was just live, and I decided I wanted to go live again because I remembered I wanted to hit another topic. I was just talking about, oh, by the way, I am Joseph R. Wheeler III, artist, founder, president of the ONYXCON Foundation. ONYXCON is a 501c3 nonprofit arts and creative lifestyle organization. If you're part of our monetization nation, that means you've already subscribed. Make some noise. What's happening? Yeah, like that. Like that. So, I was just live and I was talking about AI art in terms of visual art, because the arts are broad. It's not just drawing, it's not just the visual. So I want to specify, I was talking about the visual part. And when the AI, it's broad. I mean, its technological genre called AI is so much more than what comes to mind for some people sometimes. It doesn't just write documents or create images. It's a lot. It's a hell of a lot, right? So I was talking about that, and I was talking about the good, the bad, the ugly of it, the functional, the dysfunctional, what makes it a credible artistic expression. And I was breaking down that, like, technically you got to be a writer to use it well, because if you don't know how to write well and express yourself well, you'll never get good enough effective results if you're using a powerful AI platform for image generation, right? And I was giving them some examples and everything. So go back, watch that one. Like I said, that's the first live I did today. And now I did want to hit another topic, but I decided I'll break them up. So here's part two, so to speak. Whole nother topic. So the next topic, let me see. Let me get my zoomage right. There we go. That's good. That'll work. This next topic I want to discuss is just about, it's part of what we call relationship goals in the art life. And it also could go in with ONYXCON Outdoors Worldwide, which is one of my other elements. And with that one, I cover a lot of ground, but especially that includes our vlog series, travel, you know what I'm saying? And I'm kind of mixing the two today, that with relationship goals in the art life, because I want to discuss the fact that I've come to some conclusions in this year. This has been, as we get closer to the end of the year, I'm getting reflective like we all are. The apps are starting to tell us what music we watched and looked at and listened to. If you're on Instagram or YouTube or Spotify and all that, and everything's giving you an account of what you've done the most of this year. And I like getting those results because it gives you a real perspective on where you spent your time and who you spent your time, right? What's been your focus? What's been your goals? What you're trying to do, you know what I'm saying? And so, as an organization, our always goal is getting this thing monetized because we deserve it and we do the work. We're going to keep doing it. And we're going to get better when we have an actual realistic budget. When our budget matches our ambition, I always say, we need to figure out a way for the budget to match the ambition. Because in previous years, quite frankly, since inception, ONYXCON's budget has never matched our ambition. We've done some stuff that, if people look back and see the stuff we did when we were a convention, see the stuff I've done since we are completely online, they be in awe, like, wait a minute, you did this with no budget, basically? Pretty much no, but what most people would consider barely no budget. Yeah, there's still money being spent, but I'm saying, if you looked at it, you think, like, if you looked at our convention, man, you think we always had a 6-figure budget. Not even close. we just, it's the formula that I'm always preaching here. I always say, it's not about money, power, respect. That's the wrong order of how to live. It's the exact opposite is the proper definition of how to make things happen for real, for real. It's respect, power, money. Now, some folk with money already might say, oh, that's BS, man. You ain't gonna never make no money. It don't matter if you respect nobody. You just act the fool and you get paid for acting the fool. Well, see, that's the problem with our youth. A lot of folk actually do just that. And they see success in it, so they think that's the way. Being rude, cruel, being, this is why when people crack me up when they talk about hip-hop, as much as I love the best of the cultures, because we don't do it for the culture here, we do it for the cultures with a Z or with a S. That's what I say all the time, and I mean it. Is, you know, if you look at something as old as it is, we almost as old as me. I mean, I'm almost as old as hip hop, should I say? Okay, so I live it. I was born into it, right? And I know what it was originally about, the positivity and the good energy it was originally about, and I know what it became for so many reasons, you know. And it's like, and it's circumstantial. It's not like somebody woke up one day and said, "The hell with the party. We'd rather, you know, put drugs all over the community and have gangs and shootouts and beefs and all this drama on wax." No. It was circumstance that led to all that. Nobody wanted that mess. They were trying to get it. Hip hop was born out of being a cure to all of that. Those problems were already the inspiration for why we need peace, why we gotta go to the arts, the AR to the T, and save ourselves. That's what those artists were doing. That's what the forefathers and foremothers of hip hop were doing. They wanted to save themselves and their communities. And you can't do that by continuing the madness, right? But when it got commercialized, they figured out a way to make people think, I mean, quite frankly, they figured out a way that with the continued funerals and despair, for people to literally live by chaos. Like, it's become a pattern of, well, this is life, you know. I ain't expected to get old, so a lot of these young folk, they don't care if they live past, if they ever see 50, if they ever see 30, goddamn. They look at their 20s like that's a life. You know, if I made it through most of my 20s, I did it. That's how these fools are living nowadays. That's how they acting. That's why things are how they are. Because these folks have given the hell up, a lot of them. Not me, and damn sure not me. But that is a thing that has to be acknowledged and accepted about, you know, it took me forever. It's like, it's so hard, you don't even want to say it that real, but that's exactly how bad is. I was watching something just the other day that was semi-tied, well, not even semi, it was directly tied into the whole Kendrick Lamar versus Drake beef. Now, musically, artistically, which is where it should begin and end, this thing was considered one of the greatest of all time, right? And when we watch the ball drop in New York, or the peach drop in Atlanta, or wherever you are in the world, whatever your festivities are for bringing in the new year, if there's any tie-in with American media, and especially in America, you're gonna see at some point when they do the year in review, they're gonna have to mention Drake and Kendrick, or something about it, or at certain people's parties, they're gonna be playing the song, they're gonna be playing Not Like Us, they're gonna be playing it over and over. It is what it is. Come February, we all gonna be hyped to see what he gonna be able to play and not be able to play at the Super Bowl, right? But on the entourage side of it, on the peripheral side of it, you got all these people who are not either star, who've just either met them, kind of know them, might even know them well, but they're trying to make clicks and hits on social media off of just being able to give their opinion, whether it's valuable or not, on how the beef went and how the beef is going and all. And you got some of these folk who you can see they literally don't have nothing else going on in their life other than trying to make some madness happen. Nothing's good, and it's not a good day unless they in some shit. That's all. They live for the doo-doo. You know what I'm saying? Like, so like there was one video I came across, and it was somebody's, you know, in-home podcast. You know the shows, the ones where there's the fancy microphone, the neon lights behind the guy in the gamer chair, sitting in the dark with the neon glow. I mean, at this point, y'all, I'm making fun of it in a way because, like, count how many shows look just like what I just described right now. Like, they all look the same. I don't care if the person is different, their format, their backdrop is all the damn same. You would think there was like one network of man cave basement gamer junkies that just all do the same show. Like, they all part of the same. They all got neon signage in their place, some red, yellow, green, blue, purple lights somewhere, okay? They in the dark always. If they're not in the dark, if they're in the light, it don't matter. They still got the same looking type of room. Okay? They look like they all live in the same damn house. Like it's a one big dorm room for all these content creators that do this stuff that look like that. And I say, God almighty, anyway. So this dude, I want to say, I don't know if he was English, but I know the guy he was interviewing may have been English. I know he had that heavy accent. Or maybe he was just, I don't know. Maybe that's just the result of being, I know he was from Caribbean roots, that's for sure. I could hear that accent in there. I couldn't specify if it was Trini, Jamaican, I don't know. I'm not sure, but I know a Caribbean accent when I hear one. And he somehow tied in with Drake, and the guy was interviewing him to ask him his opinion on where the beef is now and all this stuff. And they were talking about tour dates for Kendrick and for Drake, and saying how this is could be very deadly for either one, especially for Kendrick if he goes to Toronto, because he got a date on his calendar for he's doing a GNX tour for his new album. He's gonna be doing tour all over the world, and the US of course. And they're worried about, and then this dude is in the interview, he's trying to be somebody because he got supposedly some street cred from being a thug in Toronto, and talking, and he's bragging publicly about having bodies. Like, this is street slang for, yes, saying you killed somebody. And I'm looking at this like, this is where we at? Like, I know this ain't new, but this is where it's at. Like, folks are doing this flippantly now, like bold as hell. Like, you just out here advertising that you're involved in illicit criminal behavior. Like, you're literally giving and it's even that has become acceptable in some of these circles. Like, these people and their friends and whoever, like, this is it, man. Like, you do the crimes, you get famous for the crimes. Like, you get famous for, it's like, they do the time, they do the crime. Some of them get away with not even doing the time, brag about it long enough until they either get their own case, or an old case that he got ends up being the one to take them down. And it's almost like they look at it like they done graduated college, because they almost damn near celebrating if they go, because if they can get out within a lifetime and survive being behind bars, as far as they concerned, they made it hood rich. They famous now, man. They get to go and do a Vlad interview, and life ought to be everything is supposed to be off of this pathetic existence. It's like I was watching another one, because, like, you mess around and dabble on one, like I say all the time. I try not to over-absorb this stuff, but I look at some things for research purposes. Boy, I tell you. And this truck just came within inches of me. Oh man, oh my gosh. Anyway, but I look at stuff for research purposes, but the algorithm don't care. It's just like, you looked at one, you might like this too, and it's like, no, I didn't say that. I was just doing research. Well, here's a whole bunch of other trash, and so I ended up. I mean, now the actor in me, I will say, for character reference, for writing, for stuff like that, this is where a lot of that, and that's what it is research to me. It was one that Vlad TV recently did, and I'm not a fan of Vlad because I've heard and seen enough stuff about how he moves, and I didn't like how he did my brother Wayans, when he invited Wayans to be on the show, and Wayans gave him his price. Like, yo, well, I'm worth this if you want to interview me. I'm at that point. Like, people pay to interview me, and I was like, I respect that. I understand what that is, especially at his level. And Vlad was reportedly indignant about it, and said in so many words that he didn't think he was famous enough to ask for that price, whatever it was. And I was like, wow, the nerve of this goofy. So that didn't go over too well. And luckily, I mean, not luckily, just good for his fans, Wayans supporters. Enough of us were all like, man, screw that dude, hell with him. That it backfired on. It's like he wasn't completely canceled, but I know he lost a lot of subscribers and stuff. Like, I'm sure he lost a lot of whatever over that. It did not work in his favor, So this was another interview he was doing recently, this black dude, and he was talking to this guy who had been like the leader of one of the biggest drug cartel street gangs in Miami history. And this black dude who just like, you know, he's got big locks and just the stereotypical Florida thug look, you know, if you know anything about how that goes. But, and he was just, you know, talking about what he had done and all the, I mean, he's literally telling stories. And it was crazy because he just got out and he's doing this interview. He just got out of prison doing this interview. And at times in the interview, you can see he was trying to not re-indict himself because he's like the dude that, you know, reporter, and this is not the way for humanity to be accepting things and being about this as a norm and on, right? But, you know, my thing is, people can go through different things. It's how you handle it. It's how you reform yourself. It's how you continue after those times. It's how you redeem oneself. I mean, quite frankly, like they say, you ever heard the phrase, there are no heroes? It's like, yo, it's almost true, because as soon as you start appreciating somebody and thinking they're perfect, there's no such thing. So don't never be on that perfect. There's no such thing. But you're going to find that people have their flaws. Now, how deep are the flaws? And most importantly, is it something that's irredeemable? Or is it something that they could possibly do enough good in a lifetime that after they've done all of the hurt they did, at least they tried to make something right toward the end or whatever. So, you know, you see examples of that throughout history. But nowadays, what's bothering me is I see more people where like the redemption for them is like, do the most heinous crimes, go to jail for that, come out and keep doing crimes. But the new crime might be a type that's like somehow been commercialized enough that people are more entertained by the ugly activity than to consider it a crime to begin with. It's some twisted-ish. And I'm telling you, I've said it a million times, and the closer we get to it being more than just a theory, it's like in just a matter of less than 5 years, I've seen my theory about how cyberpunk as a genre, right? As a genre. And then you take it to my favorite video game for an open world game, favorite open world game so far, that being Cyberpunk 2077, created by Michael Pondsmith, produced by CD Projekt Red. And in the game, you have these things where, because the gang culture and the criminal element has become so pervasive, right? And corruption is so pervasive that, okay, you got the street level version, then you got the corpo version. It's still gangsters. Period, point blank. And they show that. They show that the Yakuza that run the damn biggest corporation is a Japanese-owned company, Arasaka, you know. Then you got the American company, Militech, that's basically military. It's like if all the military came together and created its own corporation, so to speak. It's almost like that's the metaphor here, right? And you see the corruption all throughout the game. You play the missions, and no matter who you're doing a mission for, they all dirty some kind of way. They all got some blood on their hands from stuff they done, right? But what gets me is like how anybody can be famous for it. Like in the entertainment, even though every time something breaks out, every time you do a mission, you still get to bucking with the normal people. You hear people screaming, "Ah, I hate this city. Oh my God." Okay, they're saying that, but then you cut on the TV and everything's like almost a joke about how bad the crime and the violence is. And everything's overly gratuitous with violence and sex, and everything is, the only people who really get to be famous are those who tote the gun, pull the strap, shoot a bunch of folk, do a bunch of crazy crimes. And even as a merc that you play as, V, the character you play as, the only way to be famous and truly leave a legacy in this game, in that line of work, is to die in a blaze of glory. Bullets going off, bombs going off. If you die like that, you the king. And they give you a drink named after you at the famous bar, The Afterlife. The Afterlife. It's so freaking brilliant for its symbolism. So brilliant. Love that game. But what is weird is how now we're in a time where what just seems like, you know, elements of a game, man, you see this shit is coming true. Like, you know, a second term of a president that actually has been arrested, has indictments, has cases, and they're gonna get thrown out. Like, yo, this is the kind of stuff people here in America for years made jokes about other countries where there's always been dirt like that going on in America, but it's like, it's always hush. It's kind of like, it's like this game that gets played of, we're not going to put it all the way out there. I mean, it's there if you want to know. I mean, if you want to look deep, it goes in stages. Like, if it's fresh, if it's new, it's all theory. Anybody who has a factual account of whatever really happened on something really bad, oh, you know, that's just, hey, that's a conspiracy theory. Then the years go by, the conspiracy theory becomes proven. Because people start blowing whistles because they getting paid. Because before they die, they want to write a book. They want to have something. They want to clear their conscience and be on the back of a yacht and feel good about something because they know or maybe they was already on the back of the yacht and they wanted to blow their brains out because they feel guilty about what they done. But instead of doing that, they want to write a book and blow the whistle. So whatever the case may be, after all of that stuff happens, then and only then does the truth come out and gets made into what? I'm in the film business, movies. I've been in movies, yo, where I'm like, I remember when this case came out. This is a movie about that, ain't it? Oh my gosh. And at the time, if you were saying any of the stuff that the movie is showing, oh, you're crazy. How could you say that? That's a conspiracy theory. There was always some side that would disagree with you. There was always somebody saying, that's not true. That's not true. Well, damn, well, what does it take for it to be true with all this evidence? Oh, no, I don't believe it. For some people, right? So we're now in a time, like I say, like, man, people more concerned. Like, it's like, you can be a famous fool, like straight up nutball crazy, do anything. And that's always been a category of fame, but now it's become, it's stock is raising. That archetype has become the #1 platform for fame. Like, the worse you are, the better you're gonna do financially or something. It's bizarro world. I say this every day. If you don't know DC Comics, learn about Bizarro, the character. One of the main nemesis of Superman, because he's like a opposite, twisted, zombie-looking, complete opposite antithesis of Superman character. And the world he comes from, everything is opposite. Everything that would be one way is the opposite way. Bizarro world. And it's being reflected in all the arts. What's the main villain in the new Mortal Kombat story? It's going to be really happening. But you always got opposition really happening. But you always got opposition. Spoken so much, still, I feel like somebody got to say something. Like I say, I'm a real artist, and that's what we do. We wake people up. That's our job, I feel like, you know. Somebody got to do it, and it's going to be us. It's going to be us. It's going to be us. To do what nobody else has the balls and guts to say. Somebody got to do it, damn it. So I hope you got something from that. I'm going to tie all of what I've been talking about into how it affects relationships. All of what I've been talking about into how it affects relationships and relationship goals in the art life. But I realized I might want to wait and actually make that a whole episode of an actual edited piece. Because like I tell y'all when I start these, I always like to be, this is my brainstorm. I'm sharing my brainstorming, some of the process, not the whole, but a little bit of it. And thanks for those who attended. I hope you enjoyed my lecture. There will be more. All right? Y'all be good to each other. Don't be villainous. There are consequences. There are consequences. Be a hero. Peace.